Thank you, Mallory, and thank you to the Land Connection for inviting the State Treasurer's Office out to be a part of this presentation today. We always look forward to talking about the programs that we have available to local farmers, and we're equally as interested in participating in this as we are exploring in the organic, sustainable farm sector. As she mentioned, my name is Rebecca Huston, and I am the program manager for Invest in Illinois at the State Treasurer's Office. This month marks my 17th year at the state. When I started, I never thought I'd be here at the state longer than 6 months, and here I am 17 years later, and I'm too far in to quit, not too far from retirement, so I hope to keep going forward. And sorry if I have a cough. I have a quick funny story. I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago for the Federal Reserve annual ag meeting and grabbed a cab, said, take me to the Federal Reserve building. Got into the cab, kept driving. He drops me off in front of this building. I said, this isn't the Federal Reserve. I've been here a billion times before. Yes, it is. No, it's not. So I get into a little argument with the cab driver. He won because he had the car, and I had to get out, and I think I was borderline pneumonia at that time. I had to walk 2 blocks, which is like a mile for us, in heels with no coat and a dress. And I think it just kind of is lingering with me for a little bit longer, so I apologize for that. I do work for the State Treasurer's Michael Fergs, and if you don't know, he is the Chief Investment Officer for the state of Illinois. He grew up a farmer right outside of Gifford, Illinois, and he has obviously a vested interest in agriculture and where it goes in the future. And so that's why, again, we are here today. So what we do is we protect and we invest the taxpayer dollars, and that includes the dollar that you all received today. I'll need to collect that so I can take it back and invest it at the end of the day. So that will be included in the investments moving forward. No, in all honesty, we have some ag programs. They've been around since the 1980s. And we've been constantly trying to keep up with the trends and the times of agriculture. And we've been doing this especially in the last year or so as input prices and input prices are going up and commodity prices are going down. So what the State Treasurer's Office has to offer for farm professionals today is we have 2 areas of interest that we work in at the State Treasurer's Office. And those 2 areas of interest are in the forms of an annual operating line of credit and a long-term loan program. And how we work those programs is we work with financial institutions. Our programs do not work without the lender on the other side, because we are the chief's financial investor. We cannot take taxpayers' dollars and put them at risk. So we have to funnel our funds through the local bank. And the bank really takes the risk if anything were to default on that loan. And so in doing so, we are called a link deposit program. Again, we link with the financial institutions. And the 2 areas, the annual operating and the long-term program, I'll start with the annual operating line of credit, which I'll say back to Pat again. It's gone through some transitions over the years. It was an annual operating program, was put on a term loan program, and the program kind of tanked for a while, and we finally brought it back to the realities of an annual operating line of credit. So what that offers to you, the farmer, is access to capital at any point in time throughout the calendar year. And through most of 2015, the treasurer and myself went on kind of a exploration tour to see if our programs were meeting the needs of today's farmers. And what we found out that we weren't. Especially in the annual program, our loan limits were too low. So we raised our loan limits, and the individual farmer now can borrow $400,000 per farm individual and $800,000 per farm operation. And that allows you to spend that money where you see fit on the farm: feed, seed, fertilizer, anything that you need to put into your farm operation. And then we have also our long-term program, and that's more for those capital expenditures, those long-term costs, whether it's the equipment or cattle purchase or some construction or anything of that nature on the farm. But what we also found out in that tour a year ago is that our terms weren't kind of meeting the needs of the farmers. The long term and how it works with the state treasurer's office, we're in it for 5 years. Let me back up here really fast too. What the state treasurer's office has to offer you, the farmer, and how you work with your bank is a lower interest rate. And I know I say this, and interest rates are low, and the program wasn't needed here for the last couple of years. But as Richard Ritter just mentioned to me, the rates have gone up 0.64 basis points in the last 3 weeks. So that's pretty major. And we see those rates kind of ticking up as the year goes on. So what we have to offer to you is the opportunity to borrow money at a cheaper rate. And you do that by working with your financial institution and borrowing the money from the state treasurer's office. So on the long-term program, you can use those expenses, to, as I said, for the construction equipment, the purchase of livestock, or whatever, like a hoop house and things of that nature. But what we saw that the terms were not meeting the needs of the farmers. We were at an initial 2-year deposit, and then at the end of 2 years, as long as you did what you said you were going to do, you purchased the cattle, you put the money into the construction of a grain bin or what have you, then we'll lock you in for a final 3 years. So we're in it for a total of 5 at a low interest rate. But what we found is that the farmers needed to have a longer term on the front end, so we swapped those. We are in it at the beginning half for 3 years now, and at the end for 2. But then we went a step further through our meetings, and we figured out that equipment costs a lot more than that. We had our loan limit set at $300,000, and we figured we found out that equipment cost well over $300,000 to operate a farm in some cases. So what we will also do is go a 3+3 for equipment cost greater, or any type of farm cost greater than $300,000. So that was something that was very exciting for the farmers. And in saying that, we actually grew our program 104% in our long-term program, and we grew our annual program by 14% just last year. So we see that the borrowing need is coming back, and we expect that to grow even more so this year as interest rates go up. And as commodity prices stay where they're at, and input prices and farming prices continue to rise. The other thing that we did to change our program to kind of fit the needs of the farmer is we allowed them to refinance existing debt. The farmer has the ability to take any operating line and or long-term credit and kind of refinance that and start the clock over if they need to kind of give them a little bit more freedom in their borrowing capacity if necessary. So we have so that's on the short end of the programs that we have to offer, and just kind of wrap that up a little bit. The state treasurer's office, we have 2 abilities for you to partner with your financial institution to help lower your upfront cost on the interest rate side of your production. So we have that in 2 areas, our annual operating and our long-term program. So with saying that, I've been working with Richard and Dave and a whole group and host of individuals this past year, and learning about organics and the needs for those types of farmers. And when I say all the stuff that I said earlier, that was really geared towards the commodity farmer. It wasn't really speaking to the organic farmer per se. You had the ability, but what we found out is that we needed to expand our definitions to really kind of capitalize on what was necessary for you all to kind of succeed and move forward in your production. So we have on the table right now, which I'll go on the record has not been approved, to expand our definitions now to start looking at those other types of cost associated with organic farming. So what we're looking at is now covering the cost for application, salaries will cover, milling, feasibility studies, various inventory transitioning costs. So if you're transitioning your acres over, we'll cover that cost for you if necessary. Marketing and advertising, a cost that we never covered under our current program. Business plan development, transportation cost, construction. That's just talking about our annual program. Now, if I move into the long-term program, I'm looking at extending our loan terms to a 3+3+3. So we'll be in it for a 6-year term at a lower interest rate. So as our rates continue to move up, that might look more attractive to the farmer. We're also looking at construction of a new building or storage silos on a long-term cost, expansion or renovation of your current building, and these are all costs that we've never covered under the Ag Invest program for the State Treasurer's Office. The transitioning cost again, refrigeration trucks, transportation equipment itself, other costs that we've never covered, greenhouses, irrigation, livestock, of which we did, and we hope to kind of expand our Ag Invest program to reach those that are in, adding value to their farm, whether they be in the milling or processing or working at a storefront to sell their goods, or if they want to start an ag truck farming to take your goods from, Champaign to Chicago or here locally down south or what have you, we'll help you cover those costs. We'll also help with a tile business, something that we've never explored before this year. If you're looking in expanding your operation and opening up a tile business yourself to add value to your farm, we'll also cover those. There are some recommended requirements for this. Again, this is still in the approval phase, but we hope to roll this out January 1 or around the January 1 deadline or calendar time. So I'll end this with saying that the Treasurer's Office continues to reach out to the community, reach out to the farmers, talk to the local agencies and see what they're hearing and what they're doing and where the possibilities of the State Treasurer's Office can come in and kind of help get that farmer moving. We want to hear about it. We want to continue to move this program forward to help those types of farmers because obviously this is the market. This is where the demand is moving. So with that, I'll open it to questions. I won't take your money, I promise.
So these are all funds that are passed through the bank for these?
Yes.
You don't do the loans direct?
We do not.
Pass the funds through.
Yeah, again, because we are using taxpayer dollars. It's our job as the State Treasurer's Office to do our due diligence with taxpayer dollars. And there's a portion of these funds that are not passed out directly right away. So we have the opportunity through legislation to take these funds and put them into the community and hope to spur economic growth, business, kind of give you a leg up. So we have the authority to take some of these funds and pass them along through the financial institution to help you out.
So in your case, in your program, the local banker is the one that needs to contact your office?
You really spur that. You can go into your bank and see if they participate with our programs. If they don't and you're interested in your interest rate. So I'll give you an example of where our rates are. Our 1-year operating is at 4.42 and our 3-year rate is at 4.53. Excuse me. So if you, if your rates are starting to creep up and this is a program of interest, is to help you kind of get those rates back down to sustain your operation, this is a great opportunity for you. There's no fee to it. There's no penalty if you finish the project early and you don't need the money. You can pay it off. There's no problem with that. We have at the Treasurer's Office, we have lent over $1 billion in this ag lending program. And we continue to make sure that program is sustainable and make sure that it is here for the long haul. Currently, we have about $98 million invested in the state of Illinois in ag.
You mentioned greenhouses, your hoop houses fall into that too.
We do, yes. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Mallory, for inviting us. If you have, really fast though, sorry, I do have flyers with our program information, which also has our website, my business cards, and then something fun that we've also done at the Treasurer's Office. I used to have a scholarship program for kids and lost the money, and so now I've always tried to think of things outside the box to keep kids active in agriculture. And we've created a photo contest, the Cream of the Crop photo contest. It's our 4th year, and we ask kids ages 8 to 18 to take their best depiction of agriculture. And this is my 2nd year for just not having the kids take photos and send them in and see if there's a winner out of each age category. I wanted to showcase more of those photos. So what we've done is created this calendar that showcase some of those photos from those kids. So you also grab one of those. Thank you.